After what's felt like centuries of suffering from the speculative disease, we've finally been cured because The Dark Knight is about to return to the big screen in a big way. Matt Reeves went on a Twitter spree recently, unveiling the first look at the sequel of his much-acclaimed gritty and grounded take on the Caped Crusader, and it looks like we're in for a treat. We'll get into the specifics of what we mean by that in a few moments, because first we need to give you a spoiler warning. This video is going to dive into possible storylines for The Batman Part 2 based on the casting, so proceed with caution and stick with us till the end to find out which character the most anticipated addition to the cast will be playing. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne/Batman. Matt Reeves' The Batman became a hit not just because of that one underground club scene, which might as well be a Playboy Cardi music video. His Bruce Wayne spent more time in the suit than out of it, and that's exactly what Batman should feel like. The Caped Crusader's entire life is all about being the brawler on the streets, the terror that makes criminals flee, the detective who will solve the case no matter how many sleepless nights he has to pour into it. Admittedly, the kohl around Pattinson's deep, gloomy eyes really suited him, but we're not just talking about the aesthetic here. After wrapping up the tour for The Drama, in which Pattinson stars opposite his good friend Zendaya, Pattinson immediately went into production mode for The Batman Part 2. This means he's going to be bulking up and cutting down once again, as this role demands that kind of physicality. More than that, the Batman has his work cut out for him, because after the first film adapted the Year One storyline as perfectly as it could, giving us one of the best on-screen Riddlers to date, the second film might just go one step further. Pattinson's Batman is much younger than any other adaptation of The Masked Menace, so it makes sense that he's still figuring out the kinks of his superhero lifestyle. But Batman Part 2 is also going to be personal, seeing as its top star, besides Pattinson, has been cast in a role that's less familiar to those not dwelling within Gotham. But first, let's talk about someone we've already seen, albeit through a deleted scene only, and that is Barry Keoghan as the Joker. Rumor. Keoghan's Joker didn't take center stage in the first Batman film, despite being in Arkham when Bats confronted the Riddler, but that doesn't mean they're not acquainted with one another. In fact, Batman incarcerated him, and the deleted scene that surfaced after the movie's release showed a lot of promise for Barry's portrayal of one of the most iconic fictional psychopaths. While his inclusion in Part 2 hasn't been confirmed, we think that his character acts as the through line for all the horrible things that will happen to Pattinson's Batman, and that's why we believe the Clown Prince of Crime will not only return, this time we'll get to see more of him officially. The Joker, once again, won't be taking center stage in The Batman Part 2 because Matt Reeves is ostensibly building him up for the final crescendo. But he will be shown in bits and pieces, and perhaps showing off bits and pieces of the many people he tortures to pass the time. We'd hate for Keoghan's moleskin journal to go to waste. The fact that he put in a quarter of a day daily to become an unhinged yet charming version of the Joker makes us want to see him that much more. But perhaps not as much as the next actor who's been confirmed as a cast member. Sebastian Stan as Harvey Dent/Two-Face. Remember when people used to ooh and awe when Marvel contracted actors showed up in DC movies? Those days are long gone, and this is perhaps the biggest proof of that. Sebastian Stan, who most of the world knows as the Winter Soldier or Bucky Barnes or the White Wolf, and maybe even Donald Trump for those of you who watched that film, is going to be playing Harvey Dent in The Batman Part 2. It makes sense that Dent's introduction is taking place in what's traditionally the middle act of a three-part story, because Part 1 showed how chaos becomes the default setting whenever Batman shows up. Dent has always been seen as the measured, prudent, and bold district attorney of Gotham City, or at least he's depicted that way until he gets his character-defining injury. You all know what Two-Face is about, so we're not going to bother getting deep into his lore, but suffice to say that The Batman Part 2 won't just be an origin story for Two-Face, it'll go deep into his personal and professional relationship with the Caped Crusader. We have two reasons to believe that. Number one, all of Matt Reeves' unveiling tweets were tagged with the words "friend" at the end, or at least enough tweets that it doesn't make a difference if you missed a couple. And number two, he's decided to bring in someone from Harvey's past only hardcore comic book fans would even be aware of. Charles Dance as Christopher Dent. The Mad Lad is back in the archetypal role you love to see him portray, because Charles Dance has joined the Reevesverse, a role that will completely recontextualize how the audience perceives Harvey Dent. See, for most people, Harvey is just a stand-up citizen who was inspired by the Batman and wanted to take the baton from him, but then failed miserably because of how corrupt Gotham was, becoming corrupt himself in the process. But there is one version of Dent from the comics that shows us his relationship to Bruce Wayne goes deeper than just being inspired by his alter ego, and that two-faced nature isn't one born from trauma alone. Enter Christopher Dent, Harvey's abusive alcoholic father, will most likely serve as the origin for Dent's infamous habit making decisions by flipping coins. In the comics, it was Christopher's abuse that split up Harvey from his mother, and his sister taught him the power of heads or tails. Once, he told Harvey he'd leave him alone if he got a heads on a coin flip and beat him bloody if he got a tails. I'm sure you can imagine how that one turned out. That said, it'll be a delight to watch Charles Dance perform that scene because he's already proven he has the poise of a viper waiting to strike and an intensity that suggests insanity thanks to his turn as Tywin Lannister. Harvey's connection to Bruce also begins with his dad because on one occasion, both boys are shoved into a closet due to this man's temper. But when they come out, he acts as though he doesn't know what they're talking about, except this isn't an act. We'll let you piece the rest together because we've already given away way too much, but Charles Dance as Christopher Dent is the perfect casting choice, and we can't wait to see him steal some scenes in a major DC production. Colin Farrell as Oz Cobb / the Penguin. Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot was a revelation, both in Reeves's first Batman and in his self-titled HBO series. If you're only familiar with the Penguin from before the noughties, we'll forgive you for thinking a villain with such a name could never be truly menacing, and then we'll point you towards HBO Max. A lot happened in the Penguin that has completely changed the status quo of Gotham because Penguin is a major player in the Shadow World now, and his influence will be keenly felt in the Batman Part 2. Part 1 cleverly steered clear of Gotham's underground for the most part because it knew it was going to address it at some point, and now that Oz is on top of the Falcone crime family, with all his internal enemies dead or in Arkham, Part 2 will see him establish his iron grip on Gotham's criminal underbelly. He's going to be the major antagonist, so to speak, but he isn't the only one. This city will be drowning in the vices that plague humanity, and that's both a pun and a moral assessment. Oz isn't the only mob boss running the game after all, and the Batman Part 2 will prove that by introducing characters you might only remember from Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and that rather neatly brings us to Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. Many have called Jeffrey Wright's James Gordon a corny Batman fanboy adaptation of the character, and to those people we have just one question. Have you ever read the comics? Because what Gary Oldman did with the Gordon character was admirable, and nowhere near as accurate as Wright's depiction of Gordon. Sure, it might have felt monosyllabic at times, but that moment where Gordon confides in Batman as being the only man he trusts, and Batman responding in kind by calling him a good cop, holds more weight than any of us realize. In a city like Gotham, a good cop is rare as hell, and Gordon's restrained nature, as well as the fact that he trusts a masked vigilante over his colleagues, perfectly highlights the corruption within Gotham PD itself. Batman Part 2 will take this burgeoning relationship between Gordon and Wayne even further, because it looks like Matt Reeves is tackling one of the most acclaimed Caped Crusader storylines this time, and that is The Long Halloween. This is the story where Batman, Gordon, and Harvey Dent make a pact to bend the rules in their pursuit of justice, but never break them. And he already knows what happens once you decide to bend the rules, even if it's just a little bit. Expect Gordon to be more actionable as a character in this film, because he'll also be getting a promotion most likely, for, all that's worth in a place like Gotham. But if we were you, we wouldn't write off Jeffrey Wright as the worst Gordon ever, because his best is yet to come. And with Oz now running the show, his best is exactly what Gotham needs. Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth. People think that Alfred is supposed to be Batman's surrogate father, the conscience that guides his darkness, the man who truly loves Bruce above everyone else and understands him better than anyone. But here's the thing, that's a dynamic that matures over several years of shared camaraderie. It doesn't exist on day one, like Michael Caine's Alfred's relationship with Bruce, nor has it quite dried out into predictableness like Jeremy Irons' turn opposite Ben Affleck. Andy Serkis' Alfred cares about his charge, of course, but he's also horrified to see what Bruce is doing to himself by choosing to be a masked vigilante in a way that doesn't feel overly dramatic. And that's only going to get more intense in the Batman Part 2, because before, Alfred only had to worry about petty gangs and criminals, but now, he'll be worrying about mob bosses trying to kill his young master Wayne, and that's a different kind of peril we can't see this man of 1,000 words, body languages, depict. Serkis is kind of a perfect actor by most measurable metrics. He's adaptable, emotional, and above all, relatable. His relatability will shine through in Part 2, especially now that Bruce is working with a person from his childhood that Pennyworth actually knows on a personal level. We haven't seen Alfred in the Reevesverse Father Batman quite yet, but we might just now that Harvey Dent is in the picture. Jayme Lawson as Bella Reál. Heading up Jeffrey Wright and Sebastian Stan's anti-corruption and anti-criminal outreach program will be Mayor-elect Bella Reál herself, who was first seen in The Batman campaigning for that position, platform we just described. Her position was confirmed in The Penguin, where she urged the people of Gotham to survive the Riddler's flooding of that city with their innate strength, and she's already working to create a task force that will target all corrupt officials in Gotham, politicians and policemen alike. In The Penguin, her focus was on the Falcone crime family as the primary rotten apple of Gotham, which led to Oz getting subpoenaed. In The Batman Part 2, that's going to expand to all crime families. Reál is the only person whom our trio of justice will be hell-bent on protecting from the mob because her politics are as real as the danger to her life. Jayme Lawson did an excellent job portraying a grassroots mayoral candidate, and it'll be interesting to see how she plays the follow-up to her election. Her natural grace and poise will make her one of the stronger presences on the big screen once this film hits theaters, and she'll walk into The Batman Part 2, but she might need to be carried out. Gil Perez-Abraham as Officer Martinez. Gil Perez-Abraham's character suffers from the problem that many side characters often do. Too many adaptations of the same story have made his storyline predictable, and that's not to say that this isn't true for the rest of the names we've mentioned, but at least they feel fresh. When Officer Martinez calls Batman a freak in Part 1, we already know that he absolutely abhors him. This makes his later smile and wave approach towards Bruce Wayne feel that much more hilarious, because Martinez hates and loves the same guy, he just doesn't know it. And that resentment hasn't gone away despite helping the Caped Crusader clean up the mess the Riddler made, which we'll be seeing in Part 3. We already know that Martinez will betray our heroes in some way before it's all said and done, similar to how the character behaved in the Dark Knight trilogy. Beat cops don't make very much after all, and Bats' new justice program will take food off Martinez's table. The question then becomes how this treachery might play out. We think we might have the answer. Sebastian Koch. You might remember this guy as the old dude from Homeland's 5th season, but Sebastian Koch is an Academy Award-winning actor, and considering his advanced age, we think there's only one person he can realistically portray: Oz's competition. Not for the throne, perhaps, but for insanity, because most people are speculating he might play either Hugo Strange or Dr. Arkham. The fact that Koch tweeted he wants to rid Gotham City of evil, or his involvement was announced, could be a misdirect coming from a character that views Batman or all insane criminals as evil. Hugo Strange is a chemist/criminal mastermind who knows Bruce Wayne's secret identity in the comics and longs to take over his identity and force his own perverted version of justice upon the world. Dr. Arkham, meanwhile, is the head of Arkham Asylum for the criminally insane, and he himself is as batshit crazy as the patients he treats. Both would be fitting choices to include in The Batman Part 2, which tracks this world's descent into madness. We don't know for certain until the film comes out. What we can say is that whoever Sebastian Koch is playing perhaps won't be as intriguing as the final name on our list, and that's purely because of who she's played already. Scarlett Johansson as Gilda Dent. Initially, when reports came out that ScarJo was going to be a part of the Reevesverse, fans speculated that she might replace the departing Zoe Kravitz as the new Catwoman. Makes sense to a certain extent. Scarlett has played the Vixen perfectly in the past, but recent news stories shed a different, much more sinister light on her character. It's being reported that ScarJo will play Gilda Dent, Harvey Dent's fiancée turned wife. It'll be refreshing to see her in a superhero movie without doing a superhero landing for once, because her days as the Black Widow have conditioned us to expect that from her. But the thing is, Gilda Dent isn't just a homemaker who's worried about her husband's life as he pledges to destroy Gotham City's crime syndicates alongside Batman and Jim Gordon. She also has a twisted hankering for holidays, and that's as far as we're willing to go with regards to what Gilda will be doing in The Batman Part 2. In terms of what you can expect from Scar, think Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, with all that playful innocence and a sinister twist that masks itself in hollow self-awareness. Scarlett has played mentally unstable characters before, but Gilda's core-defining trait is that she doesn't see herself as being mentally unstable. She believes she's just playing her part in her husband's war, and that's why we're so hyped to see Johansson's portrayal of that specific brand, denial and bias. With that, we've come to the end of our list of all the confirmed cast members for Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, so let us know your thoughts on them in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Batman content, and we'll see you guys real soon with yet another video. Until then, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and we'll see ya in the next one.